Ben Shapiro. Oh, what was going on? Hold on. What the? Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens, when friends turn into enemies, and it's getting desperate out here. Ben Shapiro is desperately trying to get the conservative movement to go against Candace, and it's not looking good for him.
The price of freedom is death. We're coming to get our check.
Welcome, my brothers and my sisters. Hopefully you all had a good weekend. We're going to start the week off right. I appreciate you all for being here. We have much to discuss this evening, okay? I want to thank you guys for being here. First off, again, thank you all for being here. But we're going to discuss the rivalry that's going on between Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro. Now, this is something that we've discussed before. This is something that we all know of, the fact that Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro, they're feuding, even though they were close, so close that they were working together. They were working alongside each other, and everything was hunky-dory until Candace said something that made Ben Shapiro uncomfortable. We all know that because, let's be honest, Ben Shapiro comes from, and we got to use our words a little bit carefully. Ben Shapiro comes from, let's just say Ben Shapiro comes from a certain community. Okay, and then we don't have to say too much more. He comes from a certain community, and he is incredibly sensitive to anybody who says anything about that particular community. Not only does he have an issue with anybody saying anything about his community, quote unquote, the community of the small hat people. All right, we don't have to say too much more, but he also is very sensitive when it comes to anybody who criticizes a place that community is in. Okay, not even the community itself, but a nation. So anything that is slightly critical, anything that is not 100% support and endorsing everything they do, Ben Shapiro finds that to be anti-Semitic. So because he finds that to be anti-Semitic, Candace Owens, she's been saying some things, and she's been saying some things that Ben Shapiro does not like. And that broke the feud up. She's been having critical thoughts and opinions of that certain quote-unquote place, this quote-unquote nation, and the behaviors of this nation. She's had questions for the other Benjamin Netanyahu. So according to Candace Owens is not a good fan of the man named Ben. So if you're a man named Ben, more than likely Candace Owens is not going to agree with you, okay? If you're a man named Ben, and if you come from a certain community, let's just put it that way. Ben Shapiro and Benjamin Netanyahu is on Candace Owens' bad list. And the thing is that in between the feud of Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro, Candace is winning. Candace is winning that feud. I can't lie to you. Candace is winning that feud. But the thing is that Ben Shapiro's trying not to go down without a fight. He's trying his best. He's trying his hardest. But he's going down. He's going down. And then he pulled a real desperate move. Now, in order for us to get the backstory of all of this, I got to get to some clips. So we're going to get into it, y'all. But before we do, we got to play the copyright disclaimer to establish to YouTube that everything we played thus forth is protected under the guise of fair use. Now, what I need you all to do, what I would appreciate you all doing, is hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button, and hitting the notification bell, and then being in the chat room, leaving a comment, leaving all of that stuff. So doing all that is grateful. I'm grateful for it. It's very helpful. I'll be right back, y'all. Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Now, we got to get to this. The fact that Ben Shapiro is deciding to use Erika Kirk to get at Candace Owens. Why is he doing that? I'm going to explain why he's doing that. He's doing that because ever since the situation with Charlie, and we have to be very sensitive about what we say about the Kirk family. But ever since the situation with Charlie, Candace Owens has, I guess, taken it upon herself to do her own investigation because she believes that there are some people behind Charlie's death that I guess the mainstream media or whatever doesn't want anybody to know about. So this is what Candace has taken it upon herself to do her own investigation about what happened to Charlie. She says, no, the FBI is not going to do it right. The CIA is not going to do it right. I'm going to do it because I love Charlie. I loved him so much. I loved him more than anybody else. And I will be the one who will avenge Charlie Kirk. Now, before we get into this, I'm going to say this. We don't know all of the details about Charlie and what happened. We don't. Okay. I'm going to say this personally. Okay. And this, I'm speaking for myself as I say this. Charlie Kirk was not an ally to black people. Charlie Kirk actually was a hostile enemy to black people. Said it out of his own mouth. All right. Charlie Kirk was very hostile and anti-black. Everything he did from the start of his career till the very, very last words of his career was anti-black. So I'm not going to sit up here and say what happened. Oh my God, that's so terrible. We got to investigate. And I'm speaking for myself. I feel like because remember, Charlie said that Charlie didn't care about empathy. Charlie thought that empathy was a bad thing. Remember Charlie saying that he thought that empathy was a bad thing. Well, okay, in respect to that opinion, I will also say I don't really have that much empathy, just to respect Charlie's wishes that we would live in a society without empathy. That's just my thing. So regardless of whatever rabbit hole or whoever may be involved, we don't know all the details. All I know is my community didn't do it. That's all I know, and that's all that matters. It's white on white crime at the end of the day. That's what I'm chopping this whole thing up to. Whether it was Robinson, whether it was some conspiracy, whether it was Trump, whether it was this, whether it was Benjamin or whatever, white on white crime at the end of the day, that's what I'm chopping it up to. All right. And I feel no obligation to do no investigation to try to avenge Charlie. This is what Candace is doing. She's on this campaign to try to avenge Charlie. We're not on that campaign. Just letting it be known, we're not. But I do want to say some things, though. We have noticed some things. We've noticed some things about Erika Kirk. And Erika Kirk is acting a little what's the word? She's okay. We'll put it like this. She's grieving in a very unique way. How about that? How about we put it like that? How about we say she's grieving in a very unique way? Have y'all seen these pictures with her and Vice President JD Vance? I don't know if y'all seen those pictures. I just think that those pictures were incredibly affectionate. I don't know. I don't know if they go way back. Her and Trump go way back, but I don't know if her and JD Vance go way back. And if they don't, they're getting to know each other pretty well. That's all I'm gonna say. Mind you, JD Vance is married. I don't know what his wife thinks about this. I don't know if I don't know. I just think that that we're not bullying. Everybody grieves in their own way. Damn. I've seen her more. I'm saying me personally. Now, maybe I don't follow me personally. Okay. From what I've seen, I'm not bullying, but I've just seen her be more affectionate after her husband's death than I have with her husband. I don't know. Maybe she just likes to get very touchy-feely with people personally. But it's just some things that we are like, okay. All right. That's all we saying. That's all we saying. But I'm just saying this. When I first saw it, I'm all like, oh, okay, that's her and Charlie. I'm like, oh, wait, that's not her husband. That's another woman's husband. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. But we're going to get to this clip because Erika Kirk actually did an interview, her first interview she did, and Candace made a response to it. But before we get to Candace's response, I'm going to do a response because there were some things in the interview that I got to go ahead and do. I got to go ahead and break down.
I want to see it. There's certain things you see in your life that you can never unsee. There's certain things you see in your life that mark your soul forever. I don't want my husband's public assassination to be something I ever see. I don't want my kids to ever see that. And for people who actually enjoy watching that, which is quite literally sick.
Okay. Can I ask you, I just want to ask one question real quick. One question. Because I might be tripping. It might be me. So I'm going to ask you guys this. All right.
To ever see that.
Okay. Just pay attention.
And for people who actually enjoy watching that, which is quite literally sick.
My only question is, where are the tears that she's wiping away? Her face is bone dry. Now, am I tripping? Okay, I just want to know if you guys see what I see or don't see what I see, rather. I just want to know, because the napkin is drier after she put it to her face than it was when she picked it up. I just want to know that. I have never seen, I'm just saying, I'm not saying she's not grieving. Are y'all saying she's not grieving? I'm not saying she's not grieving. Clearly, she is distraught. Clearly, she is sadder than she has ever been in her life. Clearly. I just have never seen such a distraught, grieving person cry air. I've just never seen that. I've never seen dry tears. I personally have never seen that. She's distraught. Because if we say she's not, then that would be bullying. So we're not saying she's not distraught. We're not saying she's not grieving. We're not saying she's not crying. We're just saying her cry looks very unique because we just don't see that tears or the emotion in the cry. We just, that just, okay. I just want to know if I'm tripping. I want to know if y'all see that. Maybe I need to wipe my glasses off or something like that. I just want to know if y'all have seen the tears, but apparently nobody saw the tears. I want to know what she's wiping away. Okay. Cause she keeps patting the thing and I just didn't see the tears. So I didn't know why is that a makeup thing? Was she trying to keep her makeup on? I don't know what she was doing. Because maybe she wasn't wiping away tears. Maybe that's a little makeup napkin and she's trying to get some of the makeup out of her eye or something. I don't know. I'm just asking because I just didn't know. But okay, let's continue.
What if that was your father or your brother or your sister? There's a perspective shift there. We're human. Life is fragile.
What if George Floyd was your father, your brother, your son? What if George Floyd was all of those things? What if Trayvon Martin was all of those things? Trayvon Martin was somebody's son. Trayvon Martin was loved by people. George Floyd was somebody's father. We're not going to do this thing where now Charlie Kirk, remember Charlie Kirk said that empathy was a bad thing. Do you guys remember that? So we're not going to do this thing of, well, Charlie was somebody's husband and Charlie was somebody's father and Charlie was somebody's son. Okay. Because y'all didn't do that when it comes any black person at all, whether they're young, whether they're older, whether they got kids, whether they don't, y'all, it was no type of, well, he was a father. Oh, so we let's lay up a little bit. No. So come on. We ain't gonna move the goalpost. We ain't gonna switch up now.
And there is so much beauty in this world. Why would you waste any portion of your life looking at something so evil?
Charlie was answering a question about trans violence when he was murdered. Do you think that was a coincidence?
I don't believe in coincidences.
Charlie was actually not answering a question about that. Charlie was not doing that. Okay. Charlie was trying to deflect from white violence, and he was trying to spew narratives about black violence, because he was talking about black gangs. He was trying to spew a narrative to defend the white community. He tried to attack the black community and tried to spew black violence as a way to defend against his community's violence. Those were literally his last words. Literally his last words. I know it's been a couple months, and of course I can't show you guys the clip, but we remember the last thing he said. He was like, yeah, he was killed by his last thing was attacking trans. Okay. And they're saying that because I guess the dude Tyler Robinson, the suspect that they have, allegedly, supposedly he was in a relationship with a trans person or something like that. So they're saying like this is the trans community attacking Charlie or whatever, but we know what Charlie's last words were. So we're not going to allow you to lie and make it seem as if, because that's what they've been doing. They've tried to sanitize Charlie's history and memorialize him. And I'm not letting that slide personally. Not. We're not going to lie about the history.
Do you think they've caught your husband's killer?
So, something I'm so grateful for is that we have one of the most incredible teams for this case. I would never wish it upon anybody to have to go through what we are going through. To have seen the autopsy report, to have seen the different evidence portions that have been collected, I trust our team.
That's not a yes. You see, she sidestepped that question. She sidestepped the hell out of that question. That is not a yes. She did not say yes, that's the person who did it. Okay. But she didn't say no. So it was like, well, you know what? I would not wish this on everybody. Okay, how does that answer the question? But she just didn't. She just did not. Okay.
There's other theories swirling around about Charlie's assassination.
Listen to this part. Hold on. Listen to this part.
Theories swirling around.
I trust our team.
There's other theories swirling around about Charlie's assassination.
Right.
How does that make you feel?
When everything happened, my phone died and became a black hole. I just didn't turn it on for weeks on end.
Let me play that back, just in case y'all didn't hear it.
My phone died and became a black hole. I just didn't turn it on for weeks on end.
Her phone died, and it became a black hole, and she did not turn her phone on for weeks on end. For weeks on end. Yet she was doing press conferences like a couple days later. She was all over the internet doing interviews and press conferences and talking about we're going to continue the business and we're going to keep on with Turning Point USA. She was all over the internet doing that. Most people was kind of taking a step back and was a little surprised about how ready Erika was to immediately move forward. I'm not saying that she was involved. I'm just saying that she was all over the place. Now she's going to be on this interview being all like, I just couldn't turn my phone on. I couldn't talk to anybody. I couldn't look at anybody. Couldn't think about anything. Was that before or after the multiple press conferences and the interviews? And when did that happen? That you turned your phone off for weeks on end? How did... Okay. All right. I don't know why you're saying that like we we didn't see the press conference you had like 48 hours later, but okay. For weeks on end, her phone was off. Sure. She make it seem like she just went off the grid and she just disappeared and then came back. I don't know why they even making it seem like this her first interview. It's not, but they're making it seem like she just disappeared for weeks on end. We saw more of Erika Kirk after Charlie than we ever saw before. Erika Kirk was all over the place, but okay, to her, she disappeared for weeks on end. All right. Okay, cool. I guess. Boy. She need an acting coach or something. I don't know. A PR team. She's saying stuff that we can prove is not true. She's wiping away no tears. Okay. All right.
I've intentionally insulated myself because I need to guard my heart, and I need to be there for my kids, and I need to be there for Turning Point. And what I've realized through all of this is that everyone grieves differently. Everyone is trying to figure out, and I don't blame them, how does this happen? How does somebody become so radicalized where they can justify this in their own head? We just lost one of the greatest voices of our generation. Why?
We lost one of the greatest voices of our generation. Okay. Hold on. Let me laugh off camera. All right. Get serious. Okay.
How? What's behind it? Like, everyone's trying to process this. And I respect that. But where my heart is just asking for some grace is for the ones who were there that day.
Woo. Okay. You're asking for some grace for the ones who were there that day. Now remember, it goes without saying, Charlie Kirk was against empathy. So, and he didn't have any for us. So you can't expect us to have empathy for somebody who preached against empathy being shown to our community. He preached against that. So now we're supposed to have empathy for him and you? No, I don't think so. Not me. Now, this is what Candace had to say in response to it. Okay.
It's a gracious answer, and I think it's a gracious request to, assert first and foremost that people are doing this because they care and they care about Charlie, and also this was a traumatic event that the entire world experienced, and also the reason why the internet is investigating is because the feds aren't, and not only are they not investigating, they're telling some pretty obvious lies, right? Number one being that he was shot by a 30-06 and stopped the bullet, when in a normal circumstance, it would have decapitated him. Like a 30-06 would decapitate someone. And because they've been so ridiculous and then gaslighting us by being like, you're dishonoring Charlie's legacy, people are digging their feet in the ground because it's just disrupts us spiritually to watch something like that and then be told like nothing to see here. Now, here's what I will say about her request to consider the people that were there that day. The people that were there that day experienced a trauma because they watched Charlie Kirk die, or maybe they didn't see him die, maybe watched him get shot, heard the shot, who knows what the exact specs are. This is where it's going to be really hard for Erika to be a CEO and to be somebody who is a widow at the same time, right? Because the messaging that is coming out of Turning Point USA, so this is Erika in her CEO and her chairman capacity, has just been unacceptable, right? It can't be both.
Now, okay, just to keep this in mind, just pay attention. So she's saying the messaging is unacceptable, that we shouldn't be questioning it. And it is kind of, I am going to say this, the way Erika has been moving, a lot of people assume is questionable. Now, Candace is going to take this to another level because y'all know Candace and Charlie were like, I'm talking about like this. I'm talking about close. I'm just saying. I mean, we know it. They were close, but okay. And she ain't gonna let the legacy of her friend, she's not gonna let the legacy of her friend slide like that.
Turning Point USA, so this is Erika in her CEO and her chairman capacity, has just been unacceptable, right? It can't be both. It can't be, okay, everybody, we're going to keep going. And, Mikey's going to take over for Charlie at his Liberty event that he has, which is going to be sold out. And Turning Point USA people who are directors of faith are going to be telling you, like, Mikey's got what it takes. Here's what, blah, blah, blah. And then Mikey's going to tell stories about that day. go on a show multiple times. Andrew's going to talk about it. Everyone's going to talk about it. And they don't want to talk about the stuff that we care about. Like, this is what it means to have a podcast, right? You can't want fame only on your command. This is kind of the Meghan Markle thing, right? That we talk about. And I'm quoting this to Mikey McCoy. It's like, everybody wants to be famous until you're famous. Okay. We want privacy now. Well, it doesn't actually work that way. You don't get to be like, I want to marry you and I want to be a princess and then become a princess. And you're like, well, I don't want to be a princess, right? It's kind of, you got to pick one or the other. So if there were turning point individuals who were so traumatized that day and they needed to go away, I mean, I had to go away for 2 weeks to collect my thoughts about the trauma that I saw having watched it. And a lot of people I know that had to take breaks. I had to take a show off the air for a couple of days and they just, needed time to process. It'd be a little bit different. Actually, it's almost came across like they needed zero time to process and they were kind of annoyed that the world needed time to process. And then the things that they were telling us.
Now, here's what Candace is being very slick with this. I want y'all to keep this in mind. Keep this in mind. Candace is naming other people in Turning Point USA, but the behaviors that she's calling out are also the behaviors that we've seen Erika Kirk practice. So it's almost indirectly, it's very slick, it's very cunning the way she's doing it, all right? Which is why I'm letting it play so long. The way she's doing it is she's naming people, but she's calling out the behaviors, but those are the same exact behaviors that we've seen Erika practice. So that way, when people being all like, hey, you're talking about Erika, she can be like, no, I'm not saying Erika. I said him, and I said Mike, and I said Tom, and I said Chris, and I said Bob. So she's naming them, but indirectly, she's calling out the behaviors of Erika, which a lot of people are assuming is, some type of way. Now, I mean, that I'm letting you guys know exactly how that's kind of working, okay? What she's really doing. And she's gonna do this with other. I got another clip. I got receipts, y'all. She's gonna do this. She's been doing this ever since Charlie died. She's been on this because she doesn't have solid evidence like that. She makes very vague implications. She implies things very subtly. So she's implying that Erika's behavior is kind of she's calling out the behavior, but calling out other people. It's very slick what she's doing, but we got it. Okay, she ain't getting none past us. Okay, she might get it past them. She can't get it past us. All right? Because like I said, she ain't letting nothing slide with her, man.
Lies. We were able to factually debunk things that we were being told. And then you've got people like Tyler, who's featured in this, Tyler Boyer, who you're the chairman and the CEO. Tyler Boyer is a sexual deviant, right? Why do we have to give, because he was at the hospital, give him grace? It's like, no, this is this is now what's at the head of the company. Charlie's not there. We want to make sure that this company is going to be committed to truth. We want to make sure this company is not going to be telling us that we can't care about this or not be focused on that, because we need to decide whether this is still the same company. That's what it means, right? Is this still the same company? And so I think with the McCoy thing, everyone wanted a stage until you got a stage, okay? And people started going lie, right? Case in point, Alex Clark wanted to do the Wall Street Journal thing until caught this little lie. And it's like, what are you saying this thing about Catholics? That's not true. Okay, take the stage or don't take the stage, but it can't be in between. And then suddenly, when the public turns against you, I don't want a stage anymore. That would be my response to that. And I do not have any sympathy for Rob McCoy. I have no sympathy for Mikey McCoy. I have no sympathy for Tyler Boyer. I think telling the truth is a very easy thing to do when you have a microphone. And if you don't want to tell the truth, it just makes you look more suspicious.
Okay. This was Candace's response to Erika. Now, you can take it how you want to take it, but a lot of people were saying that Candace... Now, mind you, Candace is name-dropping other people, but this was her response to Erika Kirk's interview. Follow me. Candace is calling out certain behaviors that she dislikes that Erika has practiced, that we've seen Erika practice, in response to Erika Kirk's interview. All of the names that she mentioned was not in the interview, but she's invoking these names so that way she can have plausible deniability when somebody accuses her of saying anything about Erika. Okay, do you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? She also goes on to kind of slightly imply Trump was involved as well too. Let me show you guys that. Because yeah, I mean, I'm talking about she's going heavy in the paint for Charlie. She's going heavy in the paint.
Just take a breather and really process everything that happened with Charlie and what it kind of means in terms of where we are. And I think it is a circumstance where we just know. We just know that he was truly betrayed in one of the most egregious ways that I think I've ever seen. It has made me lose faith in politics. It has made me fully lose faith in Trump. And my heart aches for the.
Do you see that? Okay. She says he was really betrayed. It's made me lose faith in politics. It's made me lose faith in Trump. Okay.
Fact that he gave so much of his life to Trump and to politics, and they just were like, nope, that is it. It serves us or it doesn't serve us, and we want to move on. And so here's a holiday. Bro, if they try to give me a holiday, what is with them giving people a holiday after they kill them? Why is that a thing? You know what I mean? They're like, oh, Martin Luther King, what about this holiday? What about this boulevard? Anyways, let me knock it off. Like, they're going to give.
Now, here's another thing. Notice she was like, yeah, they're going to give him a holiday, and then follows up with, what is up with them giving somebody a holiday after they kill him? Now, you said Trump, you lost faith in Trump, and then you said they are going to give him a holiday, implying Trump is going to give him a holiday, and then said that they give you a holiday after they kill you, heavily implying, pretty much saying that she believes Trump was at the very least involved or knew about Charlie Kirk's death, and that Trump ain't going hard in the paint. So I'm just letting you know, this is how deep Candace is going with it. Candace is going deep. She is not letting what happened to Charlie slide. She's ready to burn every bridge. But okay.
Charlie Kirk Boulevard. They already did. They did in Israel. They gave him freaking boulevard. It's like, as soon as they give you a boulevard and a holiday, they definitely killed you. Okay, there's no question. They killed you. There's no way. That's like their signature thing. It's like that's what they do. It's the Fed signature. It's when they sign off after they murder you. They're like holiday and a boulevard. And it's never on a nice side of town either. Like Charlie Kirk Boulevard is not going to be a nice side of town. Anyways, I will be back on the 27th, you guys. Thank you guys for all the support throughout these couple of weeks, these last really kind of 6 weeks since Charlie died. And we will see you guys.
Okay. All right. Oh, I'm gonna be honest with you. She better tread lightly. That stuff is not gonna age that well. Not gonna age that well. Now, I want you guys to know this is her response and everything like that. Now, as we all know, Candace Owens is doing her own investigation as to who took Charlie down, and right now she trusts no one. Candace Owens is crossing everybody off the list and saying that any and everybody is a suspect. She's not letting that happen to her one true love. No, you're not going to take her love away from her and expect for her to just move on, unlike, his, wife. But Candace is not like that. She's not going to let his thing slide. She's not going to do that. Now, what is interesting is that Ben Shapiro takes advantage of that situation. And he is trying to use Candace's implications of other figures in the conservative movement to get people to turn against Candace, which is a real dirty move because Ben don't really care about Charlie like that. Ben he was not no friend of Charlie. That's well known. He does not care about Charlie. He's trying to manipulate the conservative movement to flip on Candace because he doesn't like Candace and because his network, Daily Wire, is falling off a cliff, rapidly falling off a cliff. It's declining terribly. Let me show you this, okay? Let's get to what Ben had to say. It needs to pull up. Come on now. Here it is.
We say publicly. Again, this is why, I think you and I differ on our angle with regard to, for example.
Now, this has been, they had a Turning Point USA event where Megyn Kelly had been on. She also had Tucker Carlson on. Now, if you guys watch what we did before in a live stream we had before, Tucker Carlson and Ben Shapiro are into it. And they're into it about, or rather over, Nick Fuentes. Because like I said before, Ben takes any and all criticisms of his nation or his community very seriously. And anybody who's not stomping against that, he finds to be an enemy. And Tucker Carlson didn't stomp against Nick Fuentes as hard as he would have liked. So, of course, Ben Shapiro is feeling like, okay, well, Tucker is an enemy and he needs to be ostracized. He needs to be ostracized from the community. So this is what he's doing. But he decided to take this moment to try to throw Candace under the bus as well, too.
On what we say publicly. Again, this is why, I think you and I differ on our angle with regard to, for example, Candace Owens. I think that what Candace Owens is doing right now is evil. It is evil what she is doing right now. Okay, and I say that again.
But what?
Because
like I didn't opine on whether it's evil or not, but my position is it's really none of my business. And
why is it? But I have a question. Why is it none of your business? I mean, you comment on these things for a living.
I'm not mother of the internet.
No, but if this were on the left and somebody were accusing Charlie Kirk of his wife having murdered him, I assume that you would be talking about it.
Is that what?
Okay. Oh boy. Now whether Megyn KKK Kelly, whether she knows about what Candace is doing or not, I can't speak to that. I don't know if she knows about what exactly Candace is doing. But we know Megyn don't want to get involved in this beef between Ben Shapiro and Candace. And the thing is that Ben, this is a real dirty, grimy move from Ben. You're going to hear it here in a little bit. But Ben is doing this, and this is live. It's a whole audience full of people, and he's putting Megyn on the spot right here and there, right here in front of everybody, putting her on the spot saying, I think what Candace is doing is evil. And then she's like, well, okay, well, I that's not my business. Why? Why is it not your business? If it was anybody else, it'd be your business. Why is it not your business? He's doing this because he's desperately trying to get the conservative movement to flip on Candace. Because as of right now, Candace is kind of like, you can barely say she's in the quote unquote conservative movement, but she's kind of wiping the board with them. The conservative movement, for the most part, she's one of the top players. And it's not seeming like that's slowing down. And what's slowing down, actually, is Ben Shapiro. As Candace is speeding up, Ben Shapiro is slowing down. So Ben Shapiro decided to pull a real shiesty move and talk about Candace Owens, even though the whole conversation was supposed to be about his relationship to Tucker Carlson. But he found that to be an opportunity to make Megyn, or to drag and force Megyn to denounce Candace Owens. It's super grimy. And what's most unscrupulous about this is that he's not doing this over Erika. He don't give a damn. He's not doing this over Erika. He's doing this over Israel. And he's trying to use Erika as well, Candace attacked Erika. So what are you going to say about that, Megyn? You can't let that slide, Megyn. It's grimy. Desperate. This is a real desperate move by Ben Shapiro.
No, but if this were on the left and somebody were accusing Charlie Kirk of his wife having murdered him, I assume that you would be talking about it.
Is that what Candace is accusing Erika of?
Yes.
Of murdering her own husband?
She's accusing TPUSA insiders and other members of the right wing, including Seth Dillon, of being involved in the murder of Charlie Kirk. Yes.
Okay. Like I said, I don't take in that content, which is an honest statement. I don't have time.
Which, Ben, it's borderline untrue. Ben can't substantiate that because Candace has not directly, she's implied it, yes she is, but the way Ben came out with it, Ben made it seem like Candace is flat out saying that. Not really. She's really not doing that. She's really not flat out saying that. But that's not stopping Ben.
To watch
I believe you. But the point that I'm making is that
what I understand
friendship should not, in our business, I think it's important. Listen, friendship should not trump.
We don't even know each other.
I understand, but even with Tucker, friendship should not trump our manifest requirement to speak out when people do and say things that are both detrimental to conservatism and morally.
Now, this is such a desperate move. Do y'all understand how desperate Ben is? This is a sign of desperation. He is literally trying to force Megyn, drag her in, and force her to publicly denounce Candace Owens over something that Megyn, whether it's true or untrue, is saying she does not know about, nor does she care about, nor was the conversation at hand in the first place. and he's bringing this up. Well, we have a moral obligation. Don't you understand? We have a moral obligation as people who believe in conservatism and love America to call out these things. And why are you not doing this? Why is this not your business? Why? That's a very desperate move, and it shows that Ben is falling off. Because if Candace wasn't a problem for Ben wouldn't even be doing this. If she fell off the second she left the Daily Wire, Ben wouldn't be doing this. But he's doing it, so it's proof that she's not.
They won't.
Okay, so I don't totally disagree, but I think the way of handling that, at least for me, is much different. So I saw things go south between you and Tucker, at least from my vantage point, when you disagreed on Israel. That was obvious. And
Well-
he was, well, let me just make my point.
Sure.
And so he was saying things that were critical of Israel and our policy towards Israel. And then you did one show where you did what I thought you should have done if you disagreed with him, which clearly you did, which is say what you believe and what you think is factual and like educate your audience on what you think are the real facts and give them the evidence for it. But you named him and it felt like an attack. And that to me was the beginning of the end, where he was like, now it's on. Because he felt personally attacked by you, as opposed to just challenging his idea. I think you named him and you kind of diminished him. And, you know, he's an 800-pound gorilla, and if you mess with a gorilla, he's going to fight. And to me, that's where it started to go south. And because I remember that day being like, oh, shit.
Well,
I don't want to see this.
But here's the thing. I would urge everybody to go back and listen to the show that you're referring to, where I criticized Tucker's ideas, not Tucker as a person.
Now, as you can see, Megan, in order to like dodge this conversation, because Ben wasn't going to stop. Ben was going to keep doing it and force Megan to at least say something about her stance. Megan didn't want to do that. So she found a way to circle it back to Tucker, which was the original conversation in the first place. I'm going to say this and I'm going to say it again. It just shows a very desperate move that Ben is in, and it shows a move of hypocrisy on Ben's behalf. Okay. And I'm going to add this. It also reflects very poorly on Ben's community. Y'all know what I mean? Because these are the people who swear to God they love free speech. And they believe that free speech should be absolute. In America, it is one of the foundational principles of American democracy and American life and American liberty and all of those things, except if you criticize something that Ben supports, like his community or his nation. Then Ben wants you to be ostracized from the movement, whether you're Nick Fuentes, whether you're Candace Owens. If you cross Ben's line, then Ben is going to get everybody to turn on you. The same way he's trying to get people to turn on Tucker Carlson because he didn't like the way Tucker Carlson interacted with Nick Fuentes. The same way he's trying to get Megyn Kelly to turn on Candace Owens, not because of Erika. Even though there were some things, I'm not going to lie. Ben is not like totally off. Even though Candace, and I'm going to play a clip for you guys in a second, even though Candace is going to completely deny that. You kind of like, if we dug it, you didn't directly say it, but we did play the clip of what you said. You are very close to calling it out. Very. All right. But Ben don't care about that. He don't care about Charlie. He don't care about Erika. He cares about his state and his community. And he wants people to ostracize you against his community, the same way he did with Tucker. But he can't say that because in the movement, most of the conservatives, Ben has a very different opinion. Ben's stance with his community is different from most conservatives. Most conservatives ain't really backing Israel like that. Ain't really backing his community like that. And Ben knows that. Ben knows that Candace has successfully weaponized the conservatives movement's disapproval or really hate of his community. He knows that. So he needs to attack her in a way that doesn't seem like he's attacking her based off of his community's best interest. So he decided to say, well, I'm going to pick Erika. Okay, so I'm mad at Candace because Candace is attacking Erika. It's not about Israel. It's not about my community. It's about Erika and Erika alone. But we see past that. We see past that. We do. Before we get to the next clip, did y'all hit that like button? I would greatly appreciate that if you guys hit that like button so we can get as many likes as possible on here. I appreciate you all so very much for that. And if you guys can double check and make sure you subscribe, that would be very helpful too. So thank you guys for that. Now we're going to play this thing. Now, Candace, of course, Candace ain't going to let that slide, just like she's not going to let what happened to her man slide. So Candace decided to make a response to that. Candace don't let stuff slide like that. Ah, come on. Hold on for a second. Why is it playing like that? I don't know why. Hold on. Give me 1 second, you all. Okay, there we go. Because it wasn't showing up right.
Okay, because when you're orienting against the left, you really should orient against the left.
So this just makes no sense. It makes entirely no sense. He's upset because I guess Tucker doesn't want to do a show with him in the future. A lot of stuff goes on in the background that you guys don't understand. So, okay, that's on Tucker. If Tucker doesn't want to collab with Ben, that's on him. Also, it's Tucker's platform. So what it means when you have your own show, which I don't know why the shock's Ben, is you can talk about whatever you want. If Tucker wants to do 6 months and he just wants to cover sports, it's his prerogative, and people can tune in or they can tune out. That's what the free markets mean. The free markets does not mean that the very same people who tried to artificially push Tucker out of the markets, the same people that applauded him being fired, the same people that have called him an anti-Semite, then get to dictate what he speaks about on his show. Like that actually just makes entirely no sense. It's not Tucker's responsibility. Doesn't live in New York City. It's not his responsibility to use his platform to speak about Mamdani 17 times. It's very strange. But to the insinuation that Tucker somehow supported Mamdani and said like nice things about him when he sat down with Marjorie Taylor Greene, here's actually what Tucker said with Marjorie Taylor Greene. And you be the judge of whether you think Ben is being an honest person when he describes it in the manner that he just did. Take a listen to Tucker.
It's interesting. You said a second ago that when people are really frustrated when the system they live under fails them, they listen to voices. The Democratic primary want to meet Jewish constituents.
What Ben said about me, because it's
hold on. I want you to listen to this part right here. Hold on. At the end,
talking about economics.
Yep.
And everyone else is talking about foreign policy.
So he said what I said. I am describing to you why Mamdani won, and you're angry that people are assessing why that happened. It doesn't matter how many times you call somebody an anti-Semite. People appreciated, it's very obvious, the fact that he was not focused on foreign policy issues when there's so many domestic ones to prove from. You got to learn why you lose elections, and it's not Tucker's job to get people elected, least of all in cities that he doesn't live in. Now, I want to also show you what Ben said about me, because it's so outrageous and it's so dishonest that we actually should process what is happening here, okay? This is a watershed moment. Ben does not have it together. He is very insecure, and he's going on the attack against Megyn Kelly by lying about what I said and then forcing her to react to the evil of what I never said. Here's what Ben said.
We're in a business where people comment on
what we say
publicly. Using Charlie Kirk.
Gave one of the most.
I assume that you would be talking about it.
Is that what Candace is accusing Erika of?
Yes.
Of murdering her own husband?
She's accusing TPUSA insiders and other members of the right wing, including Seth Dillon, of being involved in the murder of Charlie Kirk. Yes.
It's just, I don't even know how to respond to it because it just never happened. It's so crazy. He's not even anywhere near what's happened. Anybody who's watched this show, I actually was getting flack from my audience for not covering Erika's past or speaking about her parents. I said she gave one of the most consequential speeches, and I have focused my investigation on Turning Point USA and why they're telling certain lies. Seth Dillon, I told the truth that Seth Dillon lied about the Hamptons meeting and that he was pressuring Charlie about the topic of Israel. I never once accused Seth Dillon of murdering Charlie Kirk. So what's he actually doing here, right? Obviously, there's a lot of layers that we should peel back, and it's important that we do it. The least interesting part of this is the fact that he's lying through his teeth. That's implied he's a Zionist. But there's a lot more that's happening that meets the eye, because Ben Shapiro was effectively the final boss of the pro-Israel lobby. And it's because he never comes out and says what he means. He's kind of like more of a behind the scenes person. And we're now watching him come undone in real time because
now, circling, I let that play for a little bit. Here's the thing. As the thing is that we have to understand is that both of these people are both lying and both of these people are both villains. Let's be very clear with that. Whether you don't like one, that don't mean the other one is telling the truth. Because Ben is only going after Candace because Ben has had an issue with Candace ever since she left well, not even since she left, why she left Turning Point USA. This has been an issue for the longest time. And Ben is finally able, or at least he thinks he's able to turn people against Candace over something that doesn't have to do with being anti-Semitic. So he's going full-fledged with this, with seeing this opportunity that he thinks he has. So this doesn't have to do with defending Erika's honor. This doesn't have to do with that. Okay. On the one hand, so Ben he's using this as a very dirty, desperate move because Ben is falling off. We're witnessing in real time the fall of Ben Shapiro and the fall of Daily Wire. Okay, and it couldn't come at a better time to me personally. We're witnessing that. Also, Candace is also kind of lying. Candace, no, Candace. Because you've been saying some things and you do heavily imply, you don't outright say, well, yeah, I think she did it. I think it was her. Candace, maybe not. But we've shown the clips where you do heavily imply that Turning Point USA and everybody involved is moving suspiciously. So when Ben says it, now Ben is going to, he's saying it directly, but kind of we read between the lines of what you've been saying, Candace. And that people can't interpret what you're saying is kind of going after Erika. Now, I'm not saying that, Erika did it. I'm not saying. Come on. I'm not saying Erika did it. I'm not saying she did it, but I'm just saying. And that's also what Candace is saying. So all I'm saying is stand on it, Candace. Don't walk it back because you're trying to walk this thin line of not attacking Erika and you trying to imply it heavily until you got the evidence to really say something, but you consistently implying that you're implying it about Trump. Candace, all I'm saying is stand on it. That's what I'm saying. If you gonna ride for your man all the way. Stand on what you're saying. Don't be making these implications. See, that's what these people do, because they're not really honorable people. They're not really courageous or brave people. They make slight implications or they make exaggerations of the truth so they can bend the narrative to whatever they want. But the truth of the matter is that they don't want to flat out say it because they don't want to have to deal with the repercussions of what they say. So they vaguely consistently imply things all the time. That way they can have plausible deniability. Like Candace is saying, oh, I never said Erika was involved. I never said that, even though I responded to her interview saying that it's a lot of lies going on in Turning Point USA, which is where Erika is the CEO of, but I'm not saying she was involved. Okay. All I'm saying is stand on it. Come on now. Don't do that.
No matter who you are, in this age of digital media, it is simply not a good idea to lie through your teeth. Okay. Wrong time, 2025. Before you get the lie out, the internet is going to clock it, right? They're going to go back and be like, you lied. And when you do something like that, the blowback is going to be on you. They're going to go, actually, this now impacts your credibility. You said that Candace went out and said something about Erika. By the way, you hear the people in the background going, woo! I'm going to tell you what's happening there too. And you're going to see how this thing really works. Point number one that I want to make about what Ben is doing right here is just the stunning hypocrisy of it. Okay. The rules for thee and not for me. I am getting old. My memory's getting a little fuzzy, but I distinctly remember the week that I was gloriously fired from the Daily Wire. And during that week, the CEO of the Daily Wire, at the time it was Jeremy Boring, jumped onto an X space hosted by Lauren Chen and had a conversation with Nick Fuentes where he sang Nick Fuentes's praises and also invited him onto the Daily Wire. Okay. Here's a headline because the Huffington Post remembers too. Daily Wire CEO tells white supremacist Nick Fuentes that he's talented and he's very funny. The article goes on. During a live streamed conversation with white supremacist Nick Fuentes last week, the CEO of the Daily Wire, a major right-wing media outlet, praised the prominent fascist influencer and offered only mild criticism about some of his political views, a stark difference from how he has spoken about Fuentes in the past. On March 25th, the Daily Wire CEO Jeremy Boring joined Fuentes on X for a live audio chat room. Boring told Fuentes that he listens to Fuentes' show quite often and that he thinks Fuentes is, quote unquote, very funny and one of the most talented political influencers, even if he is very concerned about some of what Fuentes says. Later in the discussion, Boring said that he'd be thrilled to have Fuentes on one of the Daily Wire's shows to debate the media company's popular pundits, some of whom have millions of viewers.
Now, I'm going to show you guys, or she's going to play rather, exactly what the interaction was. She is going to play that. And all I want you guys to do is notice how she's framing this. She's framing this as if Jeremy, I guess he was the CEO, he might be still the CEO of the Daily Wire. She's framing this as if Jeremy was praising Nick Fuentes, and that's kind of disingenuous. But I want you guys to understand all of them in this conservative space and the conservative movement, all of that, they're all liars. They all lie. They lie consistently. They lie all of the time. It's lie after lie after lie. They do it all of the time. They're always lying.
This happened. So I want you just to remember this because I feel like people are not appreciating how hypocritical it is that he's now trying to struggle session Megyn Kelly because, he had Fuentes on the show when the Daily Wire position in 2024 was that their CEO could talk to Nick Fuentes publicly, praise Nick Fuentes publicly, and also invite Nick Fuentes onto the Daily Wire platform. We should actually take a listen to a little bit of that conversation between Jeremy Boring, then CEO of Daily Wire, and Nick Fuentes. Take a listen.
People can say, well, I don't like what you say about this and that. I don't like that guys like Shapiro will not say Christ is King, America first. I think they forfeit their ability to lead. I would never listen to somebody that can't say those things because, those things are really the foundation of wisdom, which is the love of God, which, as you say, goes through the Son, as we all know, can only go through Jesus, and oikophilia, which is, your love of your home, your love of your homeland that you reside in, not some other homeland. So I just want to get that across to you. It's kind of a strange circumstance that we're talking, but that's how I feel about it.
And I'll say this, Nick, that I listen to your show quite often. I think you're one of the most talented people out there, and I'm very concerned about some of the things that you're saying. I wish I think that you're a very gifted communicator, and so it's hard for me to imagine that you consistently miscommunicate some of these things. And I'll hope that I'm wrong and yield the floor back to all the people who actually came on here to talk to each other.
Anybody want to help me out why it's now different? What could be different now that it was okay when the Daily Wire was open to doing it and then Tucker did it and now it's suddenly not okay and it's the worst sin that could ever happen to speak to Nick Fuentes? Point number 2 I'm going to make here is the stunning hypocrisy again, okay?
Okay. And I'm going to say this because Candace is saying this not in defense necessarily of Tucker. She's also saying this in defense of herself. She was having a conversation with Nick Fuentes. No, she was not having a conversation with Nick Fuentes. She was slightly glazing Nick Fuentes. And so was Tucker Carlson, because they know that Nick Fuentes, with the Groyper movement, Nick Fuentes is popular. They know that. Whether he's notoriously popular or whether he's positively popular among his fan base, Nick Fuentes is popular. And Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson wanted a piece of that. And they're framing this as, oh, this was just a conversation. No, they were agreeing, they were laughing, they was ha-ha and kikiing. Candace Owens said that she was going to invite him back for dinner later. So Candace was doing that. And so was Tucker. The guy there kind of pushed back more. He was like, yeah, I mean, you're a good, talented speaker, but I mean, you're kind of spreading lies, and I'd like to have a conversation about it. Jeremy, and I'm not defending him because he's anti-black as well too, but Jeremy was actually pushing back more than Tucker and Candace was. But here Candace is kind of lying to make it seem as if there's a double standard there. And no, and it's not a double standard. I'm gonna play a little bit more of this, then we're gonna talk about something else.
Picking the topic of Charlie Kirk to pretend that he's noble, to pretend like he has to say something, even though he's lying, in defense of what's happening to Charlie Kirk's widow, when it is just a fact that Ben Shapiro did a lot of things behind the scenes to stop the rise of Charlie Kirk. It's a fact. Okay. Here's another text message. I have literal hundreds of them pertaining to
now,
Ben.
this is what I wanted to get to. Here she goes, and they keep trying to weaponize Charlie and make it seem like, oh, this person was for Charlie, this person was against Charlie. No, how can you not be friends with Charlie? Charlie didn't like you, so nobody should like you. Okay. Now here goes Candace trying to weaponize the situation. Of course, she's going to use her man, or friend, rather, sorry. She's going to use him to say, well, Ben Shapiro was constantly, he was on the attack. He attacked Charlie, and he tried to stop Charlie, and Charlie was an honorable man, but Ben Shapiro, he attacked him. Oh my God, Ben is terrible because of what he did to Charlie. Let's listen. Let's listen.
Okay, when the Daily Wire was open to doing it, and then Tucker did it, and now it's suddenly not okay. It's the worst sin that could ever happen, to speak to Nick Fuentes. Point number 2 I'm going to make here is the stunning hypocrisy again, okay, of him picking the topic of Charlie Kirk to pretend that he's noble, to pretend like he has to say something, even though he's lying, in defense of what's happening to Charlie Kirk's widow, when it is just a fact that Ben Shapiro did a lot of things behind the scenes to stop the rise of Charlie Kirk. It's a fact. Okay, here's another text message. I have literal hundreds of them pertaining to Ben, sending his YAF boys, the YAF boys, the National Review peeps that were coming after us, writing articles. The one that I showed in this little, our thumbnail here, we can show this conversation. Yeah, it was a headline. Ben Shapiro's YAF launches smear campaign against Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens. Hey, Charlie, wherever you are, it's happening again. It's just a smear campaign. I don't know why, but this is what Ben does. And it is also interesting that when I was telling you that Ben called Charlie and he was lamenting the fact that Charlie and I had this friendship and warning him that he shouldn't have him, Charlie felt like Ben was like throwing down like slave owner vibes. And he was just like, he thinks I like own you or something, but I'm going to show you the text messages because otherwise you'll say it didn't happen. Here we go. This was, again, everything. Ben was going on people's shows and talking down about me and Charlie. And he said, you're bigger than Ben now. I'm walking into the White House yesterday. I realized that. I said, I know, he hates it. He said, we just have to treat him like noise. He wants you to punch down to him. His respect amongst movement fighters is quite low. I feel like that's relevant right now to what Ben's doing. He wants to egg on this fight because he's lost a certain bit of respect. And then Charlie goes on, you got in his head, which is terrific. The Ben thing involves me more than he wants to admit. And then we went on, and this is the same conversation. He knows that Jon Snow, he's using a Game of Thrones reference, is stronger as the dragons fly higher. And he said it pisses him off, and he's sending his incestuous brother to go try and kill us. It's worse. He views you as my slave, 100%. Control her is what he really was saying to me when he called. So this has been, and by the way, like I said, I have hundreds of these messages. And so you have to imagine being in my position when you see someone who did everything he could to kind of stop the rise of Charlie Kirk, now trying to struggle session Meghan, who was actually a very good friend to Charlie. Charlie deeply respected her. And towards the end, obviously, she took a very principled position on telling the truth about what he was going through. And Charlie dies. And suddenly he's like, I care about this evil that could be happening. Candace is investigating who killed her friend. And she shouldn't be doing that. I mean, there's no way to spin it. What is his suggestion here? That me asking questions about Turning Point USA somehow means that I'm blaming Erika, who wasn't even working for Turning Point USA when Charlie died, because now she's the CEO? Of course he doesn't believe that. And it is.
Okay. And here's the thing. And this is why you can't trust nobody. You can't trust them at all, because but you've been saying that Candace has been saying that Ben Shapiro has been after Charlie for years now, but that didn't stop Candace Owens from working with Ben Shapiro. That didn't stop her from going to the Daily Wire and staying there for years until she crossed the line with Ben Shapiro and then wound up getting fired. So all of this, well, Ben didn't like Charlie. Ben didn't like Charlie. Candace, you can save that. because you wasn't riding for Charlie when the money was good, when Ben was giving you that money, when he was paying you top dollar, his offensive Charlie, you turned a blind eye to it. Now when you into it with Ben, now you want to make it seem as if, how dare he disrespect Charlie Kirk? I love Charlie Kirk, and I'm not saying she didn't, because I believe she did. I believe it. I believe it. I believe it. But let's be honest, the receipts that you pull up, that don't, when we have pictures like this, multiple pictures like this, we can't take your receipts that seriously because it didn't bother you back then. Now everything Ben does, it bothers you after he fired you from the Daily Wire. Now you're on this crusade and campaign. So no, we're not going to, no, Candace. And what you've been saying about Erika, let's be honest, you have been heavily not implying it, but you've been pointing in the general direction that Erika is standing in. Now, it is something that Erika happens to be standing in that direction. I'm not going to lie to you. Let's tell the truth about it. She has been standing in that direction since Charlie died. Let's not lie. Let's tell the truth about it. So the issue is that Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens are into it personally, and they're deciding to use Erika Kirk as their weapon. Ben is so damn desperate. He is so desperate that he's pulling out all of the stomps and everything he can to get the whole community or conservative movement or whatever you want to call it to flip on Candace.
Jim, you ready?
And the thing is that that's not working. That's not even working. And you look like a loser when you do that. Now, all I'm going to say to Candace is, Candace, if that's your man and you love your man and you ain't going to let nothing happen to him, all I'm saying is speak truth to power then. All I'm saying is don't imply something and then vaguely go away and then say, hey, I didn't do that at all. You see what Candace is doing? I didn't do that at all, which is why I showed you her response after the interview. No, you might not have did it all the way, but you did point and you did head nod in that direction. Yes, you did. Let's not lie. Now, the thing is that she don't want the smoke because she knows her audience is still very connected to Turning Point USA. She knows that. And she don't want the smoke that she will come upon if she does actually say Erika Kirk. Because right now, because Erika Kirk is a widow, she's in this kind of, especially right now, she's in this untouchable zone right now. Erika is. So if you say anything disparaging about Erika, no matter how suspicious she's moving, if you say anything suspicious, then it's like, how dare you attack the widow of Charlie Kirk? How dare you? She's a grieving widow and a single mother. How could you do that? So even though Candace wants to, she really wants to, she's not really ready to cross that line yet. She's not trying to cross the line. And all I'm saying is this. If you really ready to slide all the way. Come on, slide for your man, baby. Slide for him. If you wanted to go all that way with it, take it there. That's all I'm trying to say. Now, I'm not implying anything. I'm not the one doing the investigation. She's the one doing the investigation. Don't say I implied anything. I'm speaking on her investigation. But if you're going to investigate everybody. Don't just investigate people that you feel safe saying something about because you don't want to alienate your audience. If you're going to be this tough investigator who doing all of this detective work and you telling the truth and all that, come on now. You slide for your man, baby. Come on. We already did. We know what it is. You just need to say it. And if you say it, stand on it. Don't be a coward. See, that's that tether behavior. Don't be a coward and loosely imply something. And then when somebody calls it out, be all like, I never said that. That's not what I said at all. I can't believe you even got that from what I said. No, Candace. Come on. Moving real scary now. Slide. Come on. Because let's be honest, she's the only one doing all of this like super detective investigating work. She's the only one doing that. That Ben ain't doing that. Erika ain't even doing that, at least publicly. Megan ain't doing that. Tucker's not doing that. Hell, Brandon Tatum, nobody else is doing that but Candace. So all I'm saying is, hey, don't be a coward. See, that's that fleeing tether behavior. Don't do that. Slide all the way. That's all I'm saying. Now, if you don't believe it, don't imply it. But if you believe it, slide. Can we put the slides emoji? I like the fact that you did that. Let's put the slide emoji in the chat room. Come on, let's tell it. Let's tell it. All I'm saying is say what you want to say, because we see it. We see it. That's all I'm saying. Now, come on. You know you mad. You know Erika stole your man from you, Candace. And then had his babies. How you gonna let him do that to you? You wind up having to get married to another man, and the man of your dreams is gone, and she's sitting up there with all of his fortune and wealth, and she ain't even gonna say what really happened. I know that just eats you up, Candace. I know it does. I know it. It boils your guts. I know it does. Grinds your gears. So all I'm saying is, if you gonna go there all the way. Don't hold nothing back. Say what needs to be said, Candace. Say that. Don't let what happened to your man after she stole him from you. He was yours first. You wanted to stay that way, and she came up and swooped in and took him from you. And then what happened? Now she's running the kingdom. She's running a company. You weren't even allowed to be at the memorial. Candace, you gonna let that slide? You gonna let that happen to you, Candace? You gonna go out like that, Candace? You gonna go out like that? How you gonna slide? That's all I want to know. That's all I want to know. I'm not speaking violence. I'm not speaking anything. I'm just saying, speak truth to power. If you're going to do that, do it all the way. Do it all of the way. Speak truth to power. Now, speaking about speaking truth to power, did y'all see that me and Miss Jackson was on the radio the other day? Speaking truth to power. We were speaking truth to power.
Yes, ma'am. I'm actually here at the Freedom Summit.
The other day. Hold on. Let me show y'all. Yeah, we was on Chicago radio, Detroit radio, me and Miss Jackson speaking that truth to power. Speaking truth to power. See, the thing is that when you a foundational Black American, you gonna ride. And when I say slide, I don't mean that violently. I just mean about if you're gonna speak, use your microphone, speak. If you're gonna speak. Don't imply. That's cowardly. Say what needs to be said. Speaking about saying what needs to be said, me and Miss Jackson was saying what needs to be said on the radio. Excuse me. The thing is that even though we were saying what needs to be said, there were some things that we agreed on that we wanted to really say, but we had so many callers, we couldn't even get to all the callers. And if you guys watched it, y'all know this thing had a ton of commercial breaks. I'm talking about a ton of commercial breaks. And so every commercial break, it was like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. So some was like 5 minutes. So we had to do that, then get to a caller, then play a clip. So we couldn't even really say what we want to say. We might have to go back, to be honest. We might have to spin back on them to make sure we step that foundational Black American truth to power on the airwaves. We might have to do that, but I want to get to this one caller real quick.
With our friend John, not physically right now, but we're all having a good time at the Freedom Summit here.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, there's quite a few of us here. Anyways, one of my political hobbies is calling in Urban Talk Radio, friends at WVON, and I'm always mentioning the fact that they always talk about Black generational wealth. Well, the problem is, I say two things. First of all, the color is more important than black or white is green, as in Ben Franklin's. Because if you have more Ben Franklin's in your wallet, that's your empowerment. You're not feeding a fat pig called government. And also, they talk about generational wealth. Well, the problem is, as you point out, these high property taxes means you can't have that. So I also like to point out, in neighbors to the east, Indiana, they have a state law that they can only raise your property tax on your home just 1% per year. And so guess what? That adds a lot of stability. That gives people to have more generational wealth, no matter what your color is. And this is the problem with Illinois. All they do is keep raising taxes. And yet, you go to Florida, well, they argue about how they're going to cut taxes. DeSantis wants to make a bill where your personal residence has no property tax. They want to maybe raise a little bit of a sales tax increase. And in lieu of doing that, everybody who spends more will pay more. People don't buy so much, won't spend as much. But if you can have your home tax-free, that's a tremendous boost. And this is the kind of example we need to give to our urban brothers and sisters that just blindly vote Democrat and nothing ever changes. So what you're talking about is absolutely correct. You're saying some nice, wise words, and this is what everybody needs to be listening to.
Now, well, I think okay. You heard him talk about this is what we need to tell our urban brothers and sisters. That means black. So what he was saying is that, well, it's not about because Miss Jackson was bringing up her case. Well, it's not a race thing. It's about money. It's about how much money you have. That's what it's about. And we need to tell our urban, which is black, our urban brothers and sisters, we need to convince them that it's not a race thing. It's a money thing. So we can't talk about it from the context of them doing this to black people or the black community. We have to talk about this in the context of they do this to a class, a ethnic or economic class of people, and it has nothing to do with your race at all. So stop mentioning the whole black thing. That's what he tried to say. Now I want you to listen to her response.
Very much for your comment, Jim. But let me just say this. You are right in terms of property taxes and the effect that it's having on homeowners, because you see different people talking about that. And I believe, what is it, Maria Pappas, who's over the Cook County the tax assessor, a couple of years ago, she did an investigation about the issue of property taxes and how people are losing their properties to property taxes. And you're absolutely right about that. But now, as it pertains to generational wealth, and as it pertains to black people, I have to disagree with you in terms of saying that it's not a color thing, because yes, it is. It has been an ongoing plot of government and local municipalities over decades and decades of taking black people's property. That's a fact. That's a fact. When you look at my case, it's a case of straight up theft. As my attorney says, theft by law. My mother.
What I'm trying to say.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, when I talk about the color more important than black or white is green, in other words, when you have more, Ben Franklin's, when you have more money in your pocket, that's your empowerment. And so that's why people don't understand, when they have a government that supports higher taxes, as in taking away money out of your pocket, that's why people always, because people want to use the color black or white. Well, let's look at the color green, because if green is in your pocket, that's your empowerment. And that's
and that's why I have to push back. See, that's why I have to push back, because how much greener can it be for a person to inherit a 3-flat on the south side of Chicago that's without mortgage? That is my green. And when you systematically try to take that because of gentrification, because you're intentionally trying to move people out of an area, that is color. See, because this is a problem that has been going on for decades and decades in this country. We cannot deny that. So I do agree with you. Like they say, money talks, BS walks. We all know that to be true. But at the same time, we cannot act like systematic and institutionalized situations, especially as it pertains to real estate, is not a real problem in the black community. Gentrification, aggressive gentrification aimed at our community. Now, I'm not saying that some of these things don't have a rippling effect. Of course they do. Anytime you do wrong, it's going to have a rippling effect. But we cannot deny, and the history shows it over and over again, all the different ways that generational wealth has been taken from a specific group. Eminent domain, illegal evictions, illegal foreclosures, illegal reverse mortgages. Now I'm learning through the probate process. Another lady out in DuPage County, I've learned through the divorce process how they're coming after her property. This snatch and grab of real estate is a real concern, and it is behind green, right? You're exactly right. They want the green. Property translates to green. Real estate translates to green. And this is where it is. So I appreciate your comment, and I think John wants to chime in on that. The attorney, let him chime in.
Now, before I'm gonna just skip now. John is Miss Jackson's attorney, so she's gonna have him say something. Then I'm gonna say something after John. I'm gonna skip past what John has to say, and then I'm gonna get to what I have to say. But first off, shout out to Miss Jackson, because it was a kind of conservative news thing, because we were on John Anthony's thing. Now, John Anthony asked Miss Jackson to host, and then he had her bring on guests. And the guest she brought on was yours truly, Afro Elite, of course. And then she also brought on her attorney that's dealing with her case with the property and everything like that. Okay. So I was very proud and pleased to see that Miss Jackson didn't fall under the pressure of, well, this is a conservative thing, so we need to be conservative and you know, kind of shuck and jive. And see, this is the problem that we deal with a lot of black conservatives. Black conservatives don't stand on business when it comes to the issue of race. They when the dominant society be all like, well, you know, race really doesn't matter if it's all about the money, man. It's all about the green, dude. And I'm poor like you're poor, so they don't care about my race, just like they don't care about yours. I don't even see color, man. All I see is money, moolah. And they see the moolah too, dude. So it's about change, and it's about the cha-ching. That's what it's about, man. Okay. And then here you go with the black conservatives be all like, yeah, it is about the money, man. I don't even see the race either, dude. It's about the money, dude. Okay, of course they see that. But the thing is that that's not the type of time Miss Jackson was on. She was not on that type of time. She pushed back a couple of times. She was like, well, no, this does happen to black people. And we're not going to get anywhere by even if we're talking about the generational wealth, it makes them uncomfortable when we bring up the fact that the targets of gentrification has not been the white community. That's just historically the fact. The targets of gentrification has been foundational black Americans. That's been the fact. That's been the reality. And we need to speak truth to power on that. And it doesn't matter whether we're on a liberal news station, whether we're on a conservative news station, whether we're in between in this impartial thing, whether we're on my channel, whether we're on because I can't play the whole thing, but I said foundational black America. I wasn't scared to say FBA or foundational black American on the air. I wasn't all like, well, let me be politically correct and say African American. I didn't say that. I said foundational black American a few times. I also specified, I'm gonna see if I can find that clip because they don't have like the timestamps. I also specified why it's important. I didn't go into it that much because we were running out of time, but like kind of the delineation aspect of why it's important. All right. I also went into that. So it don't matter. We standing on business, whether we on the conservative radio, whether we on the liberal radio, whether we in between or whatever. And we will push back. If your audience don't approve of it, okay, your audience is wrong. He is wrong. All right. It's not no race blind issue. It's not a race blind issue. It's never been that. And and y'all don't care when it happens to black people, but then when it happens to you guys, y'all want us to help you, but y'all want us to help you in a way that we ignore race. No, we are the main targets of it. And then it happens to you guys later. Then y'all want to team up after it starts happening to you, but y'all want us to team up with you guys and ignore the fact that it happens to us first and primarily. That's not going to happen. We're not letting that happen. No, we are not letting that happen. Okay, we standing on business no matter where we go. Let me fast forward a little bit because then we kind of go to the commercial break. Let me see.
That we wanted to provide.
Yeah, we go to the commercial break right there. And so I'm gonna fast forward because I addressed it after the commercial break. Hold on, let me fast forward it past that point. Hold on. Because they play music and I don't want a copyright strike or nothing like that. Get up, get on up. Hold on. Yeah, because radio can do that. YouTube, you cannot do that. Hold on. Okay.
And I'm about to be one of the first people out of my family. Get up! Give it to
this situation. And the mere fact that she had a 100% authentic will, except for the probate judges, except for the public, they keep moving the goalposts because the goal is to steal the real estate. So my welcome needed to be passed. That's something that needs to be pushed. Forceful Republicans needed to be passed. That's Indiana.
Hold on.
Come on in, Rick. What do you have to say? What's your question or comment?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Like the problems of the black community, Republican Party has been
officials that want to do that. They want to do something other than like.
Afro Elite wanted to jump in and make an additional comment to the last caller. Go ahead.
Thank you. I would like to say the analogy I used before about the car and
reason why the car is messed up is because of the engine, and the engine is what Black people are feeling. This is something that we have to live every single day. And the reason why the Republicans are not connecting is because the Democrats do at least one thing that the Republicans don't do, and they acknowledge the fact that the engine is messed up. They don't do anything to solve it, and they will keep a carrot on a string that will keep Black people on a hamster wheel to keep voting for them. But the problem is that the Republicans say that the engine is not the problem at all, and that there is no issue with the engine. And then every time we bring it up, they call us race baiters, and they say we're exaggerating and we can't let go of the past. And this is what discourages Black people from even acknowledging the Republican Party and keeping on to the Democrats, because you're going to acknowledge the person who at least acknowledges the problem. And the thing is that if you want a society, if you want a country where everything is the way you say it's supposed to be constitutionally, then acknowledge all of the problems. Don't just skip over the engine problem because it makes you feel uncomfortable. Fixing the problems are going to make you feel uncomfortable, but it's not about you. It's about the generations after you, the descendants after you, and how the country will look after we're all gone.
Yes, it's the healing of the land.
Now, let me break down why I said that. Okay, I said what I said. I kind of got a lot of my response after kind of based off of Neely Fuller's response. If you have listened to Neely Fuller and watched his response to it, the issue in America is the race issue. That's the main issue. That's why I framed it as the engine. If let's say the car's messed up, let's say you have a car and the car's messed up. Let's say the alternator is bad, the transmission is bad, the engine is bad, it's leaking oil, and it's got all these other problems. The main problem is the engine. That's the main problem. That's the most expensive problem. That's the biggest issue. That's the first issue. That's the main issue. And you have these other people who will come up and be all like, man, we really got to do something about the radiator. Man, we really got to fix the tires. Man, we really got to put more the AC there. We got to refresh the AC. We got to do this and we got to do this. No. The engine. You guys are trying to skip over the engine. And the problem is that y'all can fix everything else, but if you don't fix the engine, the car is useless. This is the problem with the country. All of these other issues are byproducts of the fact that the dominant society refuses to fix the main issue. And that main issue is the racial discrimination and the racial targeting of foundational Black Americans from the inception of the beginning of the country. From the beginning of the country, we have been enslaved. Really before the beginning of the country, but from the very beginning, it was slave labor that built the country, and it was anti-Black racism that the country has been founded and built upon. And they want to fix all there's a lot of corruption. There's a lot of corruption. It's a lot of other non-racial aspects of the country. A lot of corruption, a lot of fraud, a lot of lies, a lot of that non-racial aspects and problems of the country that are byproducts that have been birthed because you've created an environment with the foundation of it being racism. And until you fix the engine, nothing else you fix is going to matter. Nothing else you fix. Now, I had to come up with that quickly because of the time, but nothing else you fix is going to matter. So they're like, well, no, it's not a race thing. It's a money thing. Well, the money thing comes from y'all started off with the race thing. So the race, y'all can't fix the money issue until y'all fix the race issue. Until y'all fix racism. And see, this is what the dominant society wants to do. They want to fix the country and make it more comfortable for them. They don't want to make it more comfortable for everybody. They don't want equity. They don't want everybody to feel cool. They want themselves to feel cool. So they start cherry picking. You understand what I'm saying? They get to cherry picking issues that they have an issue with. And they'll say, come on, guys, let's team up on this issue. But it's not a race issue because they don't want to help fix the race issue. Do you understand? So that's not going to work. And I said that in a way like, no, that's not going to work. That's not going to work because you can't even fix this issue without fixing the bigger issue. Y'all keep trying to skip over the bigger issue to fix your little personal symptom. No, No, you got a symptom because you got the flu. Now let's fix the flu. No, we can't. No, we're not going to get rid of the cough. You want us to get rid of the cough and keep the fever, because the fever don't bother you. It's just a cough. So y'all would want to like, okay, guys, let's team up to get rid of the cough, but let's ignore the fever. No, no. The reason is because we got the flu, and y'all don't say nothing about y'all's symptoms until y'all want to address the fact that we have the flu, and the flu is racism. All right. So that's kind of like what I was saying there. Also, a lot of people ask about, and I found a way to kind of fuse this into that statement too. The reason why people have an issue with the Republican Party, Black people, Foundation Black Americans primarily, have an issue with the Republican Party. I get it. I understand it. Now, I disagree with the way they approach it, but I do understand it. Because the Republican Party's brand is protecting racism. It's true or not true, and it's true. It's about protecting racism, and it's about ignoring the engine. The Republican Party and the Conservative Party, the conservative brand, has consistently ignored the racial issue. And like I said in my that segment, I said, and if you acknowledge it, they'll call you a race baiter. They'll say you need to get over the past and get over racism. So to the average FBA who knows that the engine is the issue, is going to completely dismiss the Republican Party. Even if everything else, let's say for the argument, even if everything else the Republican Party does is absolutely great, absolutely correct, because they refuse to acknowledge the engine, not only refuse to acknowledge the engine, will gaslight and tell us that the engine is fine and there's no problem with the engine. This is why Black people are not Republican. I get that. I'm not a Republican, and I know a lot of you all are not a Republican, not Republicans. Okay, I get it. And even the Black people who are Republicans, they're not fully on board. A lot of them are not fully on board, even if they do have a lot of conservative beliefs and values, and they might agree with a few principles. They understand that as far as the Conservative Party is concerned, or the Republican Party rather is concerned, that they will consistently ignore racism as an issue. Now, the Democrats, here's the thing with the Democrats though, the Democrats will acknowledge racism being an issue. Okay? They won't do anything to solve it. They're not trying to end the system of racism. They're not. But they will acknowledge the existence of racism, unlike the Republicans. So for the average Black person, you're going to look at it like, well, I'm a little bit closer to victory with the Democrats. That's the mind trick. It's a trick. Don't get me wrong. It's a trick. But I understand why that trick tricks people. I understand why that play tricks people, because it's like, at least the Democrats acknowledge racism. At least Obama said there was racism. Biden said there was racism. Kamala said there was racism. Trump, JD Vance, y'all saying there ain't no racism. So I get it. Now, what we have to do is be very intentional with informing people that what the Democrats are doing is a trick. It's a trick and it's a play. That's why I said it there, to keep a carrot on a string, because they'll acknowledge the existence, but they have no intention on solving the issue. That's like going to a mechanic and saying, well, your engine is messed up, your engine needs to be replaced, boo wop the bam, but I'm not going to fix it. Have you guys ever been to a car? Can we put the car emoji in the chat room? I don't think there's an engine emoji, because let's put the car emoji in the chat room. That's like you go to a mechanic and the mechanic is like, hey, the reason why your car is messed up, the reason why your car is not operating right or not starting or it's having issues is because of the engine. And you're like, okay, cool. Okay. Well, can you take care of the engine? Sure, I'll take care of the engine. They take your money. And then your car is sitting there. How many times has that happened? Your car is sitting there and you keep calling like, hey, is any update on the engine? What's going on? Oh, I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. You call another day. I'm working on it. You call. They don't pick up. You got to call. You on hold all day long. You call. Hey, any update on the engine? What's going on? Hey, I'm working on it. I'm getting it as fast as I can. I'm working on it. Yet you see other cars come into the shop and then leave the shop. Other cars are in and out the shop. They fixing all these other cars and all these other people's issues and all these other people's engines. And the car is steady at the shop and they're not fixing your engine, but you keep calling and they be all like, man, yeah, the engine is an issue though. And it is an issue, but you know, I'm working on it. I just need a little bit more time. That's what they say. I just need a little bit more time. Just give me a little bit more time, just a little bit. They call, oh, we just need one more part. We waiting on the part, a little bit more time, and you wait, and you wait, and you wait, and you wait, and they never touch the engine. They never do. Truth be told, they actually make the engine worse. They actually mess the engine up worse. So we got to expose that trick. All right? Because the engine is actually worse off after you gave it to them than it was before you bought it. But black people, too many foundational black Americans feel stuck between like this shop at least recognizes that the engine is an issue versus when I take it to this shop, they say the engine is fine. So what am I going to do? Okay. And this is why we are, as foundational black Americans, we are learning to fix our own engine because the Democrats are not going to fix it. They're going to keep playing this game. The Republicans are going to keep playing the game where they ignore it. Either they ignore it or they string you along. So it's up to us to fix it. Now, we are holding both, I guess, shops or tire shops or whatever, the body shops, whatever. We're holding them accountable, but we're not relying on them to fix the engine. Do you understand? We are learning to fix our own engine. All right. So that's what we're doing. But we're not going to let it slide that they're lying about the engine. Okay. And we're going to let people know when they have issues with their car, the issue with your car is your engine. Okay. Don't let them lie and say it's the alternator, it's the transmission, it's whatever the case, your tires or whatever. No. It's the engine. Focus on only that right now. Every other thing you focus on after you get that engine done. All right. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing, y'all. So we were speaking truth to power. And let me get to this other clip, though, or this other segment. I don't know exactly when that is. It was kind of like later on. Let me pull this other segment up because I wanted to get to there was a thing with Brandon Johnson and the whole thing about him potentially being allegedly being Haitian. So let me pull that up.
Because first of all, you're going to deal with the fact that word on the street is you're a Haitian. And if that be the case, that explains a lot. But if you're not, we're going to dethrone this self-acclamation you gave yourself at that Black Caucus thing, where you said that you're the freest black man in America right now. I dare you insult black men like that. You are far cry from that. You're sitting here talking against Trump, trying to make him look this way or that way, when we right here this morning saw you misuse the police department to violate our rights as citizens. You told them that they cannot participate in getting these illegal immigrants while you sat up here and misrepresented that raid on South Shore Drive like black people was getting beat up and all that over there. You know that's a lie. I live over there, and black people over there, we kicking in and we chilling because ICE ain't looking for us. And you know they're not. They're coming to get what we asked our president to do, and that was to engage in mass deportation, to get these illegals out of our country. We are coming for them seats. Do you understand that? And while you got these people up in here acting like they pro-police, if they really was about the police, against the police, whatever the case may be, they deal with that Laquan McDonald Act so that we can get y'all up out of that seat. Yeah, you wipe your face. Yeah. You wipe your face because you're probably out breaking out in the sweat. Let me tell you something. We coming for them seats. And at first, I said it to you. Then it spread to city council. But now you're going to mess with the black people of America and American citizens by being a fraud and showing the Democratic Party by how lousy they really are. Black people in America, American citizens, y'all say it along with me. From the East Coast to the West Coast, from the North to the South. The Democratic Party, we're putting y'all on alert. All across of America. That's right. We're coming for them seats. So, Mayor.
Whether she cooking or not, I'm talking about cooking with grease. I'm talking about it. She was up in there whipping him. Oh, and he actually did start sweating when she brought it up. Okay, she actually did. That's why she like, yeah, wipe your face, because he was wiping sweat from his face. I mean, she was heating him up. She was cooking. The kitchen was so hot. He had to wipe his face. He was like, man, is the oven on? Somebody turn the heat on? Where's the fireplace at? I'm breaking out in sweats over here. He was sweating. Okay. She was cooking. Okay. So let me get to that. Let me get to that.
That's what I said. That's what I meant. And that's what I want America to do. I want America to get focused. Get focused. We can get some of these seats. We may not get all of City Hall in one sweep, because this is the Democratic machine, and we're going to bring in Craig to talk more about that. But I tell you one thing, if we can get 4 seats in City Hall, if we could just get 4 Republican seats, that'll send a big message to Chicago and to the country at large. If we could get a Republican mayor or a Republican governor, and it's doable. It's doable. It's not like we can't do it. Chicago Flips Red has made the soil fertile enough to do it. Your other activists that are participating, and that have been participating as strongly as we have, and maybe some of them as longer than we have. We've made the ground fertile. The only thing that it takes now is the willingness for the Republican Party to come on in and do what they need to do to get those seats. We're going to bring Craig in. He says Chicago invented the machine, and he's calling from Mount Greenwood. Come on in, Craig. Now, what say you?
Let me fast forward that
Craig, whatever, they're all the
more. We may need somebody's brand's permission, like Mr. Beast or whoever, to get in front of their following. But with the advent of social media, certain people and personalities can be
right with John Anthony.
Immigrant children are now being prioritized over our children that you have neglected as a former teacher as well too. This is what we're saying, and this is why we're saying immigrants, and let's be honest, and I got to tell the uncomfortable truth, immigrants in politics in general, when they have an allegiance towards immigrants, this is why as American citizens we get the second hand. This is why we get what's left over after the immigrants come over here, which is why they feel so entitled to call us lazy, because they get preferential treatment. So it is very important, if we do have a government official who is cosplaying as a citizen, as somebody who is descendant here, that needs to be called out. And we are saying allegedly as well too.
Right.
Hold on, let me take it back all the way to the beginning. I was there. I recorded that clip. I get a lot of her clips. Okay. And she does great. Okay. Everybody loves it. I want to say, because there might be some people who might be confused as to why she even brought up the fact that he could be Haitian. Okay. Yes. And we're saying allegedly. Okay. For the record, to keep the record straight. Why does it matter? Isn't he still black? Well, racially, we have to understand that we have the black race, but ethnically it's a different thing. If he's not from America, his allegiance as an immigrant is going to be towards immigrant. Okay, he might be a black person by race, he might put that down as his race, but he is not foundational black American, and that is the difference, because he's not from the soil of America. His allegiance is going to be towards him being an immigrant, because that's what he sees himself as. Okay, so this is why he prioritizes immigrants over citizens. When we're going up there complaining about, hey, there's hiring freezes, the immigrant children are now being prioritized over our children that you have neglected as a former teacher as well too. This is what we're saying, and this is why we're saying immigrants, and let's be honest, and I got to tell the uncomfortable truth, immigrants in politics in general, when they have an allegiance towards immigrants, this is why as American citizens we get the second hand. This is why we get what's left over after the immigrants come over here, which is why they feel so entitled to call us lazy, because they get preferential treatment. So it is very important, if we do have a government official who is cosplaying as a citizen, as somebody who is descendant here, that needs to be called out. And we are saying allegedly as well too.
Right. Because it just
I be cooking. Y'all know, but I still do have to, because it's not officially confirmed. Word on the street. That's why Miss Jackson had to say word on the street, and we got to say the word allegedly. But I made sure, first off, that wasn't the only time, but I made sure I let it be known. Like, oh, well, people are like, well, aren't Haitians black too? So why does it matter if he's Haitian or not? I'm like, yeah, his race may be black. Like his race may be black, but ethnically, he's not a foundational black American. Ethnically, he's not a foundational black American. So his allegiance is to being an immigrant. So this is why, and we got to say allegedly, but this is why he goes above and beyond for immigrants in spite of American citizens, because he sees himself as an immigrant first. And then I even added more. I added more seasoning to it. I said all immigrants, let's be honest, all immigrants will do this, because they will see themselves as immigrant first, and their allegiance is going to be to him. First off, number one, their allegiance is going to be to their homeland. So if they're Hispanic, they're going to make sure, they're going to go above and beyond to make sure that they advocate for the Hispanic community. That's why you see AOC always talking about immigrants and the immigrant community and all of that, the Hispanics in particular. She's always arguing and fighting for Hispanics in particular. Then if they're an immigrant, they're just going to fight for immigrant causes in general. Even beyond their original homeland or their ethnic homeland, they're going to fight for immigrants in general, because they see themselves as all in the same boat as an immigrant. They see their family as immigrants. They see their community as immigrants. So they're going to be like, hey, I got to do anything, any type of policy that advances immigration or that helps the cause of immigrants. They're going to do that. So if Brandon Johnson is a Haitian immigrant, then he's going to see himself as an immigrant first and foremost. And he's going to say, well, I got to do what's in the best interest of immigrants, even if that means I got to do it and I got to cross Americans off. Even if that means Americans got to suffer, foundational black Americans have to suffer, I'm going to do that still. I'm going to still do that. Okay? So called it out. We standing on FBA business no matter where we go. There was one thing where we were supposed to, it was so many calls we couldn't do it, but we were supposed to actually get to the couch vote. We're going to have to do that next time if we go back, because we were really going to get to that couch vote, but everybody called in, because the couch vote is beyond Chicago. It's bigger than Chicago. It's kind of like a nationwide thing, because every FBA in the nation can practice couch voting, right? So that's beyond Chicago, but the callers kind of kept us on Chicago and the corruption and immigration, so we just homed in on that. So if we go next time, we'll try to make sure that we kind of section off a time period to talk about the couch vote, because the midterms are coming up. The Democrats are still playing games. The Republicans going to be playing games. So we got to use our leverage, which is the couch vote. So if we do go back, we will have to talk about the couch vote. But that's just that. I appreciate that, Shelly. Can we get the couch emojis in the chat room just to let it be known? Also, I got to say, me and Miss Jackson's show that we went on, the radio thing, it's been the most viewed, or at least on YouTube, I can say, on YouTube, it has the most views of any of their other programs that they've ever put out on YouTube. Like by far. Like our viewership that we got, me and Miss Jackson, when we was up there, we got like several times what they normally do. Several times what they normally do. People was loving it. People called so much that we couldn't even, and we were up there for like 2 hours. And we opened up the phone line, I think, in like the first hour, maybe 30 minutes, 40 minutes maybe. And people kept calling back to back to back to back to back to back. We had to wind up closing the show. We couldn't even get to all the calls because people kept calling. People kept wanting to weigh in, you know. So, hey, it is what it is, man. And they're going to have to bring us back because we were speaking that fire over the radio. You know, we spoke on, there was a Detroit radio we spoke on, I think, for the first hour. And then we cut off, and then we was only like in the Chicago and Chicago land area. Yeah, we was speaking that truth to power, y'all. So, yeah. Shout out to Miss Jackson. Also, I do gotta thank John Anthony for allowing us to get that space. So appreciate that. Thank you to him. Let me get to Big Smalley or Simey. He says, always appreciate Afro Elite. Thank you for all you do, bro. Thank you. I appreciate that. And of course, I'm a ride for the community no matter where I go. I appreciate that from the family. What I would also appreciate is y'all hitting that like button. Y'all hitting that like button, and y'all hitting that subscribe button, and y'all hitting the notification bell to establish to YouTube that y'all want to be here every time we go live. And also leave a comment too. I want to know what y'all think. Let me know what y'all think about the radio segment that we hosted. Let me know what y'all think about that. And I also want to know, what do y'all think about the situation with Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro? Who do y'all think is going to win at the end of the day? What do y'all think about what's going on with Erika? You know, how is she moving? What do y'all think about that? Let me know that in the comment section below. Let me get to this other super chat real quick for you. Cultural Superpower sends a super sticker. Appreciate that. Let me know. Appreciate that. Y'all said we did great. We did great. Thank you. I'm going to let Miss Jackson know if she's not watching already. She probably watching already, but I'm going to let her know anyway. And with that being said, my family, I appreciate you guys. We got some good stuff coming up this week, so y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. Thank you guys for being with us this evening. Y'all stay blessed, family.